There is a Vietnamese fairy tale. Once upon a time, in around 14th century in Vietnam, central Vietnam, there was a guy named Từ Thức, and he traveled quite a lot. And one day he went to a mountain, a remote mountain, met a beautiful girl, and they fell in love, and they got married, and they stayed there in a beautiful scenario and very comfortable surroundings. But after a year with his wife, he was homesick so much, he would like to come back to see his parents and friends and relatives in the town. But his wife told him, if you leave now, we will never be able to meet up again. But a few days later, he couldn't resist the urge of going back to the village and see his own people, so he left. So he made his way all the way down to the village from the mountain, and when he reached the destination, lo and behold, everything changed. He couldn't find it's generally still very similar, but a lot of things has changed. So he walked his way back to his previous home, and nobody was there that he knew of. So he asked around, and eventually he met an old man, and the old man said, 80 years ago, there was a man of this name, namely his name, Từ Thức, and he went missing, and we never heard of him again. So that guy Từ Thức went somehow 1 year somewhere, ended up 80 years into the futures. So that is a fairy tale. But such a fairy tale is not contradictory and not inconsistent with modern day science, namely a theory proposed by Albert Einstein in the early 1910 or 15, and it's called special relativity. And let me, please indulge me, I just explained it very simple, in simple terms, the idea of the theory and the time travel. This equation here is not that intimidating. So the time on Earth and a person travel on a rocket, so-called T rocket is a time on the rocket, and they are related by this equation. So divide by the square root of 1 minus the velocity of the rocket divided by velocity of light. The rocket never reached the velocity of light, so this thing beneath this the division is called, the denominator will be less than 1, and when you take the T rocket divided by something less than 1, become a longer time on Earth. So 1 year here, dependent velocity, can be equal to 80 years on Earth. So this is the theory has been proven. And so such a fairy tale is not contradicting, neither inconsistent with the theory of the modern physics. So if I'm not a UFO conspiracy theorist, but let me take a wide speculation. So instead of a rocket, you put UFO and the velocity of UFO, which is flying disc, some sort of rocket. So maybe, just for entertainment, that guy Từ Thức was kidnapped by UFO. And then they did own tests on him, own experiments on him, and that's why he was living in a very fantastic world on the comfortable surrounding. And according to the theory of modern physics, 1 year UFO dependent velocity could be equal to 80 years on Earth. And that's not the only story for the Vietnamese fairy tale, but there are some other similar fairy tales or similar tales about people found that they travel into the future. So that is the first episode. Next time we talk about traveling back into the past.